Washington, D.C., the Trump administration continues a battle a lawsuit from two groups representing federal workers. Those groups want to block the dismantling of USAID. All of this is part of the president's efforts to shrink the size of the federal government. Right now, a federal judge is hearing arguments from the administration. They say USAID is overflowing with insubordination and needs to be shut down. So for more on that lawsuit, let's bring in CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson. Thank you for joining us. Jessica, this is clearly a messy legal battle. Are there any details on this particular lawsuit, and how do we expect that to affect today's hearing?
Yes. So there are more details in what you just read and told us, which is in part that the Trump administration is accusing these workers of insubordination. And what we know from the last minute filings is that the workers are saying absolutely no. But there also, of course, as you said, this is a complex case. There are also other issues at play here, broader issues. Some of the issues involve the broadest of issues, right? Does the Trump administration have the power to essentially dismantle USAID without conferring with Congress? We know that USAID is a product of first an executive order, but second legislation. And I think a good reading of that legislation says, if you as the president want to completely reorganize USAID, including, as we're talking about today, firing all of these workers, you need to consult with Congress. You can't do it alone. You can't go it alone here. There are also concerns about, of course, Congress funding USAID and then the Trump administration firing people who have or will be paid to do a job. And there's questions about the spending clause and whether or not, again, the Trump administration can kind of unilaterally say, I'm sorry, but we're firing all of these people. So it goes from the most granular questions of, are these people doing their jobs? Is there insubordination? To, does the president have the power to do what he's doing here? And this is one of those important cases to watch about the power of the Trump administration to act alone when it comes to executive actions.
Okay, Jessica, I want to stay on the topic of lawsuits here because there's clearly so many of them. A new lawsuit here with 8 inspector generals fired by the Trump administration declared their removals unjust and illegal. What do you know about the departments the AIGs were working for, and why were they even fired?
So I'm going to say briefly, same theme that we just talked about, which is, does the Trump administration have the power to go it alone? Now, in terms of the departments that they were working for, it's the Department of Defense, it's state, it's the Veterans Administration, it's Health and Human Services. It's name a department that they weren't working for, in the sense of these are nonpartisan watchdogs that are charged with looking at waste, fraud, and abuse. And in many cases have been quite effective at doing that. In terms of the legal arguments here, what they're doing is again pointing to, and again, echoes of the USAID case, they're pointing to a federal statute, a congressional statute that says, if you want to fire these people, you need to provide notice, at least 30 days notice, and you need to give a reason for the firing. And that notice goes to Congress. So again, the argument is you have to work with Congress on this. This is not just within the purview of the executive branch.
All right, Jessica Levinson, thank you for your insights and your time today.